Hey everybody, here with a customer of ours, Theresa Thoburn. And
Yes.
thank you very much, Theresa, for being with us. We just got a quick hello in, but we haven't said much to each other. So we're going to come at this real fresh and hear about your story of your dog after being on Gussy's gut. Um,
Wonderful.
yep. And thank you for doing this. We actually came to find you because you just sent us a beautiful post in one of our Facebook posts, and it
Yes.
was just a pretty detailed story. So we'll paste that here below in the description. But why don't you tell us what that story is and give us just a like before Gussy's gut, after Gussy's gut.
Sure. So the backstory of this particular dog, well, the backstory is I'm a dog breeder, and I feed raw to all my moms, all my puppies. One of my mama dogs had to have a surgery, so she went through a course of antibiotics and started having tummy trouble. So I
Okay.
thought, I'm going to try Gussy's gut and see if I can rebalance her. And I ended up giving it to all of our dogs. Well, about a week after it arrived, I had a former puppy of mine that I had bred, and she's about 2 years old now. She came to me for an extended stay. And when she got here, she was just so inflamed. Her skin was so inflamed. She could not stop biting herself. She could not stop scratching. Um, just examining her skin, she was filled with little scabs and sores from all the chewing. Um,
And what kind of dog?
they're Bernedoodles. They're
Bernedoodle.
like, yeah, they're a doodle mix. So I, spoke with her mom and asked, what's going on. And she said she really didn't know that over the past few months. And the mom is a dog groomer. So she had been tackling it from, the position of trying different shampoos and ointments, and nothing was helping. So I put the dog back on raw and immediately started a combo of the daily and the fermented grasses. And it was truly amazing because I didn't expect that it was going to happen so quickly. But after about 2.5 weeks, I noticed, my gosh, she's not scratching. I mean, she's barely scratching anymore. And then I did a skin examination and was just floored. The red, lacy inflammation that I saw on her tummy, the scabs were resolving. She wasn't creating any new ones. And today now she's been on it for 4 or 5 weeks, maybe. Zero scratching, zero sores, zero anything. She's just like a normal, happy, healthy dog again.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, so total time, you would you say you add the 2 weeks to the 4 weeks, or total time is 5 weeks, or
So total week now has been about 5 weeks since she's been on it. Yeah.
okay, all right,
But I
and
saw benefits at 2.5.
well, and look, I'll be the first to say, like that's obviously what we love to hear. It's not the norm. It
Mhm.
can take as long as 3 months for a lot of dogs, but there was something magical that it just fit. What we were
Yeah.
able to do was the glove in the hand, and it fit. And we'll probably never know what that is. No dermatologist will ever know. No world famous veterinarian will ever know. They'll just go, it worked.
Yes.
And really, people love to get these scientific answers like, you know, we know that this will work if this, then if this, and if this. But the truth of the matter is there's so much complexity to like, genetics and epigenetics and diet and, what's going on mentally, the stress and all that stuff, or the environment. And I mean, you name it, it gets into like the thousands of multiple possibilities.
Sure.
And so you just go, oh, like just, my attitude my whole life with my dogs is problem, kitchen sink, evaluate.
Hmm.
And, if the kitchen sink is a raw food diet, which I did do, that's what inspired me to turn raw 25 years ago.
Hmm.
And I hired Dr. Billinghurst to teach me raw with my first black lab buddy. and it worked in 4 weeks, like crazy, like your dog, miraculous. But I would say maybe even close to the 3 week mark. And so you just never know until you get going and you give things enough time. So I appreciate that, you know, you got your dog back on raw, because that's really, I think, the big needle mover,
I
you know.
think so too. To like take the potentials, right? Take the potential allergen or whatever's upsetting their gut balance away, start feeding it, and then really nourish it. You know,
Yeah.
I've fed just homemade sauerkraut and kefir and things like that in terms of fermented foods, you know, weekly to my personal dogs. But for the one that had gone through an extended antibiotic treatment, I thought, you know, maybe she needs a little more. And that's what made me initially order the product. And I'm so glad I had it on hand.
And you just gave it a try on the other dog.
Yes, yes.
Wow. How is your other dog doing? The dog you
So great.
originally ordered it for?
So great. Stools are back to normal. She's not chewing on grass. Yeah, I can tell she's just feeling better overall now.
Wow. And these are all Bernedoodles.
They
You
are.
work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All
do
right.
have some Bernese Mountain Dogs as well that are on it, but their stomachs tend to be like, you know, German tanks. They can
Yeah.
metabolize just about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Well, yeah, where they're from and how big they are. And
Yes.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
hardy.
Yes, they are.
That's great. And so you feed the Gussie's got to how many dogs?
All told, 7 dogs right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's quite a lot. All right, great. And any other dogs, any other things you're seeing with those other dogs? Just anything.
Well, I like to think that my dogs are pretty healthy,
Yeah.
but you know, why not give the boost, even though I don't see that externally, I don't notice that there's an issue.
Yeah.
Why not give them a nice boost?
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're all great. But the one that I was noticing that had the antibiotics was, you know, having being a picky eater for the first time, and stools weren't great. And when I started noticing that she wanted to eat the grass in the front yard, I thought, oh, she's got an imbalance.
Yeah.
And that's what prompted me to order. And so, yeah, she's doing great now.
I'm glad
Appetite's
to hear that.
back. Yeah.
I love it. Well, yeah, I mean, by the time we notice things, it's probably too late. It's like, reminds me of, you know, how they say if you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated.
Yes.
And with dogs and cats and animals, it's really hard for them to, you know, they're really good because they're, you know, basically dogs are especially very pack driven. So they hide their feelings. So that's just innate in them.
Sure.
So they're not ever going to show that they're feeling weak or not well. They hide it until it really becomes a serious problem. And so, you know, we have so many great customers like you that are so in tune to their animals. Like most people, average, you know, person on the street won't even pay attention to their dog being more finicky in their meals.
Mm.
And that's just a real whisper. And then it gets bigger
Louder,
and bigger
louder.
and louder. Yeah, yeah. And when it's screaming is when most people go to the vet. And I think most vets will tell you they would appreciate if you let them know at the whisper stage, because it's so much
Sure.
cheaper and easier to fix.
Sure.
Yeah,
And you know, fermented foods are something that dogs just naturally eat in the wild, you know, or would, I suppose, if they were allowed to. So it just makes sense from a nutritional standpoint to just try and heal their gut and boost their immunity and calm it all down, right? I
yeah,
think that so much in you know, what ails a dog can be healed through
yeah.
diet. Yeah, that's our
You
belief.
you hit the nail on the head, and where we play the biggest role, I think, is in our, there's like this diversity of nutrients, because people forget the nutrients, the all the ingredients when you take them in totality in the blend we make, the polyphenols, phytochemicals, you're not going to get that in any great food. You have to build that in the
Sure.
grocery store. And if you're not going to ferment it, it means it's not getting as absorbed. So
Right.
most people don't know, like anything raw, you'd be lucky in terms of vegetables if you get a 5% absorption rate. Like
Mm-hmm.
5% of what you're feeding is getting absorbed and benefited from. It's like it's a staggeringly low amount.
Oh,
When
I
you
didn't know that.
yeah, when you're fermenting, you're and even sometimes cooking, but it's very different, those two things. But the fermentation actually makes it somewhere between 15 and 60% more absorbable, depending on the plants.
Mm.
And so you get this massive, 10x potential increase in bioavailability. And then on top of that, which I think is actually, to me, it's the greatest benefit. The second greatest benefit is all the variety of plant fibers. One microbe likes a certain plant fiber, another microbe likes another plant fiber, and they
Mm.
multiply on that. So the good bacteria, it's their food. And if you create a welcoming environment every day for them to stay around in the gut and live and multiply, then you've got a really good, happy gut that's diverse. And the lining of the gut, we call it the terrain of the gut, it
Mm-hmm.
stays intact and it's stronger because of that. So we play in that ancestral world where you're talking about, where dogs bury bones, dogs and cats bury pieces of prey, meat, whatever, and the gut contents of that prey is the fermented part. And obviously, in the burying the bones, dogs are seeking ferment. They're literally fermenting on their own.
Yes.
They leave it for 2 weeks. They come back. It's as Dr. Billinghurst says, rotten and revolting. And
But good to
that's
go, right?
that's what I love it. Yeah. So we play in that, but we go really crazy high level, and we pick the best plants that we know what is in those plants, and then we formulate it so that these dogs and cat customers of ours are getting this like ridiculous spectrum of nutrients. So admittedly, we don't totally mimic a rabbit's diet or a bird's diet, or whatever the prey may be, a mouse in the case of a cat, for example. um, we make it better and we optimize it. And these things have ridiculous compounds and peptides and properties, all these great things that nobody knows really what they do, truthfully. There's a lot of hype that we could push in our literature, but we just want to let the results speak for themselves. So I thank you for being on, because that's what this is about. It's just, hey, here's a great customer that got results, and here's her experience, and we let those speak for themselves. So
Yeah,
thank you for taking the time.
I want to thank you for making a great product.
Thank you.
Yeah, it made a world of difference to two doggies now, and I'm sure it's making a world of difference to the rest of them. I just can't see it.
I listen, Gus gets it every day. He's as healthy as can be now. And you just go, I gotta just do the right thing.
Right.
It's like, if you stop eating healthy when you go on, say at home, you eat healthy, you go on vacation, you can feel it, but it takes a little while. You know, it doesn't mean you stop eating healthy. Just because you're feeling good, it's something you keep up with every single day. So, if you really want like really high level performance, if you want that, your animal's Ferrari engine to stay in peak condition, you feed it well,
That's
and
the goal, right? Keep
that's
them
the goal.
healthy. That is
That's
the
the goal.
goal.
And we always say, start with raw before you pay money to us to put our product in a raw diet. Raw is the best way to go.
It's a
And so,
great combo.
oh,
Yeah, the best combo.
the craziest, best combo. It
Yeah.
really is. So, well, thank you, Theresa. I really
You're
appreciate
so
your time.
welcome.
All
Thanks
right.
for inviting me to chat.
And
Bye-bye.
thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye-bye.